Welcome to Rowdy and Real with me, Sophie Shaw, therapist, wellbeing coach and slight loose cannon. I'll be sharing some life lessons and wisdom from the real world. If nothing else, it'll take your mind off your problems for a bit. And if we're really lucky, you might even hear something that helps you to make it better. So stick around for real talk, real growth and some probable bad language. Let's dive in, shall we? Hello, it is 2025. Welcome to season 2 of Rowdy and Real. And this episode is charmingly titled, Where the Fuck Have I Been? Because I never intended to leave a year break between season 1 and season 2. I just thought it would roll quite nicely one after the other with a little break in between. But you know what they say, tell God your plans. That's a good way to make him laugh. So I am going to start this episode by breaking rules because I guess that's on brand for me. I'm breaking 2 rules. The first is that I normally know with these episodes pretty much what I'm going to say. And this time I don't. So it might be a bit rambly, rowdy and real, and a bit messy here and there. And secondly, this episode, I'm going to talk about myself. I'm going to be quite open and personal. And that's not something that I generally do. I mean, I do share my stuff with you. You know I do. But I will only do it if I feel that, first of all, that it's of use to you. Otherwise, you're just listening to a narcissist in a cupboard rambling about their life. And I feel like we've got enough of that going on in the world already. And number 2, one of my biggest rules is that I don't talk about personal stuff unless I have fully dealt with it. And I'll be totally honest with you, this is an ongoing thing that I am still dealing with. So yeah, that's not totally, it's by no means is it all lovely and sorted and wrapped up in a nice ribbon under the label done. It's not. So yeah, I mean, content warning. I'm going to be talking about cancer. And, if you are in a position where you're just like, I do not want to hear about cancer this morning, then by all means, skip this episode. I won't blame you in the slightest. I will try and keep it cheerful, but it's still cancer. So yeah, buckle up. Almost exactly a year ago, I found a lump under my armpit and had no other symptoms of any kind, no tiredness, no pain, no nothing. Life continuing on as normal, but felt this weird lump under my armpit that was a bit sort of achy, like I'd pulled a muscle. Went straight to the walk-in centre. We're very lucky. We've got, in Norfolk, we've got this fantastic walk-in centre where you just hop in, you get an appointment straight away within about an hour. And breast cancer. Obviously, they didn't tell me straight away. The cancer pathway is very, very quick. We get about 2 weeks until you're, dealt with, basically. And within about 2 weeks, I think, I'd got my diagnosis. And the world has turned inside out and upside down for me over the last year. So, yeah, that is where I have been. The first thing for me, obviously, was surgery. And then the next thing was chemotherapy. And then after that was radiotherapy. And then just now I'm starting on long-term drug treatments that I'm going to be on for a very long time. It's all extremely boring. And I'm talking about it in a very casual way as if it's no biggie. It's biggie. It's really fucking biggie. OMG. Yeah, it's been, I'm not going to say it's been the hardest thing I've ever had to endure. It's pretty fucking close, though. I'm not going to lie. Chemotherapy. Chemotherapy sucks ass. It's really fucking hard. Now, I want to be really careful about talking about this as well, because before I started all my treatments, I somehow had a really naive, possibly, positive mindset that was like, it'll be fine. It's going to be a hard year, but it'll be fine. And I still do think that, actually. It has been a really hard year, but I also do think it'll all be fine. That's probably the theme, actually, of what I want to talk about today. But when I talk about these treatments, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because that's something I don't really want to talk about today. I think I'll talk about at some point in the future if it's helpful. If it's helpful. That's really the only caveat I have about talking about any of this stuff. It reminds me a little bit. I'm going to skip around a lot in this episode. As I said, I have not planned, and I have ADHD. So see if you could stay with me. It reminds me a lot of when I was pregnant 17 years ago with my son. And women who had already had babies were like, it's fine. Birth is hard, but it's fine. And they fucking lied. They lied their lovable asses off because it's not useful to be told how horrendous childbirth is. Because then what's that saying? Worry and suffer twice. You would just spend your entire time dreading it and then be set up mentally for it to be incredibly difficult. So chemotherapy is incredibly hard, but, it's not hard for everybody. Some people breeze through it. I had texts from friends saying, I had a friend of mine who went through chemo and still carried on working. And these musician friends of mine, they still kept on gigging. And I'm like, no, dude, no. And, it depends on the kind of chemo that you're getting. This really made me laugh. Right at the beginning, I'm 51. I was 50 when I was diagnosed. They said, we're going to chuck everything at you. We're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you because you're young and fit. I was like, really? I'll take it. That's probably the last time in my entire life that anyone will ever describe me as being young and fit. I can tell you, 1 year later, I am not young or fit anymore. I am old and buggered. But yeah, so the chemo that they chucked at me was like mega super duper on steroids, literally on steroids chemo. And yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. Anyway, that passed. Then there was radio and then there was drugs. And as I say, I'm talking about it in a laughing kind of casual way. I'm not being noble, believe me. There's nothing noble about diarrhea. It's hard and it's messy and it's ugly and it's been a real slog. And so why am I sitting here laughing about it? Because I slept well last night. That's the main reason. I'm rested. If I had not slept well, I'd be in here being a lot more moany, I can tell you. I want to be really real with you because that's literally the title of this podcast is Rowdy and Real. I think we have this perception of cancer patients. We talk about them in this kind of glassy-eyed way, like, you're so brave. You're so courageous. You're so brave. She's dealing with everything with such grace. Oh, fuck that. I'm sorry, but really, I haven't been graceful or noble or courageous or brave. I've just been an average bod just trying to navigate the whole process as best I can, which sometimes has been positive and, I guess a little brave. I've had to be brave about some things that were really hard to go through. But essentially, I've just been a normal person. And what that looks like is sometimes complaining and moaning and feeling sorry for myself and feeling like a victim and not doing some of the things that I know will help me feel better. Like I've talked a little bit in my emails to my audience about fatigue and how difficult that is to manage. And one of the things that helps with fatigue, paradoxically, is doing stuff like being a bit active. And when you've got fatigue, you don't want to. And so there have been lots of times when I just haven't. I have not navigated this in any kind of perfect way at all. I haven't been one of those incredibly virtuous people who's done green juices and eaten celery. And I haven't. I've had McDonald's and chocolate and all these not lifestyle blog friendly actions I've taken. And to be clear, I'm not knocking or advocating any particular way of navigating cancer treatment. That's the point, really, isn't it? You've got to do what's right for you, and I've got to do what's right for me. Just bimbling along doing the best I can. What I will say is that all of the personal growth stuff, all the personal growth work that I have done over the last, decades, but fairly intensely over the last 5 years, I would say, those really, really laid the foundation for my survival of this whole journey over the last year. Because prior to that, I definitely would, I think, have sunk under the weight of my emotions and the physical toll that all of the cancer treatments take on your body. I would have felt far more victimized and far more disabled by it all, I think, had I not had the privilege, and it is a privilege, of having done all this work and been supported by some incredible people. So I want to name check my mentor and friend, Nick Chung, because, we worked intensely together for 3 years before I was diagnosed. And Nick, God love her, is the person who really woke me up to the fact that things can be shit and you can feel awful, but that you still are able to keep hold of this thread, this kind of, some people call it higher mind or super consciousness or whatever, your soul speaking or whatever you want to call it, but some kind of golden thread that just says, this is a human experience, this is not everything that you are, and all is well. So you can feel like shit and still know that all is well. It's okay. This is all okay. And what I love about this is it fits so perfectly with what I already believe about humans and about this whole kind of positivity thing. I talk a lot about toxic positivity and Pollyanna positivity that I have a real aversion to because it denies humanity. It denies the ability to have and express a full range of human emotions. Humans are meant to experience everything. We're meant to experience anger, jealousy, bitchiness, pride, vengefulness, all those sorts of emotions, as well as joy, bliss, excitement, interest, hope, inspiration, love, all of that stuff, everything. It's all normal to feel everything. And so when you get these kind of, these gurus, massive air quotes, they give you the impression that life is meant to be, an Instagram reel all the time. It's meant to be beautiful and perfect and to be enjoyed all the time. It's such a load of nonsense. And, anyone can get cancer. I watched recently, for the second time actually, I watched the Bob Ross documentary on, I think it's on Netflix. And I don't know if you're aware of who Bob Ross is. Oh, I hope you are. What a wonderful human being. Oh my God. Bob Ross, in case you don't know, is this incredibly peaceful guy who did this series of painting programs called The Joy of Painting on, I think it was on PBS in America, that became popular worldwide. It would be a half an hour of him teaching you how to do an oil painting. And he had he was ASMR before ASMR became a thing. And he had the most soothing voice. And if you watch this documentary, in life, it seems like the guy was an extremely positive, upbeat, peaceful kind of guy. It's a really great documentary. I highly recommend you watching it. But, here's a guy who spent his entire life doing something that he loved, spreading joy, bringing that joy to as many people as he possibly could, painting all day, every day, which he absolutely loved doing. Basically, doing what most gurus tell you to do, which is to spend as much time as you can in the highest kind of vibrational state that you can achieve. And he died. He died of, I think it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He got cancer and he died. And the most ironic twist, spoiler alert, is that he probably got the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from constantly breathing in paint thinner. I mean, oh God, if that isn't the most appalling irony. So, shitty story, but what it tells me is that I can be positive and I can do all the right, huge air quotes again, right things, and I can still get cancer. It's not reasonable and it's not scientifically rational. I think, actually, that you do all of those things so that you can navigate the shit that life has to throw at you. Being a human being is messy and awkward and occasionally, like right now, incredibly hard work. And so you do all of that stuff. You do all of that self-work in order to be able to navigate the shit that life throws at you, not so that life won't throw you any shit, because that's not realistic. So, there you go. I mean, here endeth that lesson, I suppose. Where am I at in terms of my health now? I am cancer-free. These extended treatments are to make sure that it never comes back again. As far as my doctors are concerned, my treatments are intended to be curative. So no worries on that score. I am just beginning to ease my way back into work. I'm beginning to take on new clients at a much greatly reduced rate than I did before, because my pocket of energy, my energy banks are greatly reduced. I have had amazingly understanding and wonderful clients that I was able to continue working with occasionally during my treatment. Shout out to you guys. You were just wonderful, flexible, understanding, loyal, just fabulous. Love you. And yeah, I really did not want to leave it longer than a year to get back into this podcast, because I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy spouting into a microphone for 20 minutes or so and telling you what I think about shit. And it really seems to resonate with a lot of you as well. So I am extremely grateful for that. I will probably, as I say, talk more about this cancer stuff in detail if I think it's useful later on. It's possible that I might create some meditations around helping people with cancer treatment. I suppose now I've said it out loud, I kind of have to do that, don't I? I've committed myself. But that will happen when there is space to do that, and when I feel that it's, to use that kind of wellness influencer word, when it feels aligned for me. So yeah, I'm pretty good. The bulk of my treatment is now done. So it's kind of getting back to life, which sounds simple, isn't, but does allow me to work a little bit again with clients, which, I do love doing, and I'm glad to get back to it. So there we go. Look, just before we sign off, a loving boundary, which I'm going to ask you to respect. Please don't send me any remedies or supplements or treatments or methods or anything that you have heard of or tried, or your friend tried, or anything like that about navigating cancer treatment or coming back, rehabilitation or anything like that. Please and thank you very much. I love you. I don't need it. I am all good. It can be very overwhelming because you have so many very well-intentioned, loving people telling you, I had this supplement and I bought that, I tried spirulina and thank you. I love you. I don't want it. Thank you. I mean, I guess what I'm really saying is trust me, I got this. And I have got this. So with that, my loves, that is the end of this episode. And next episode, I will talk about something completely different. Probably. Who knows? I haven't planned it yet. But heavy start, I guess, to the series. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for waiting it out. And yeah, here's to the remainder of this season, the remainder of 2025. Let's see it out with a bang. Big love to you. I hope the sun is shining where you are, and see you next time. Ciao. Thanks for listening to Rowdy and Real with me, Sophie Shaw. If you'd like to stay in touch, then please visit norwichtherapy.co.uk and join the mailing list to receive a gorgeous free meditation straight into your inbox. And if you'd like to chat with me about your stuff, then please book yourself a free 30-minute call at sophieshaw.as.me/free call, and we'll start making a plan for your happiness. This podcast is intended for educational and vaguely entertaining purposes and is not a replacement for counselling, psychotherapy or coaching. Please take responsibility for your mental health and ask for the help you need. You're fabulous and you deserve to be happy. Bye.